Barely. 7 medications later.
I got her. Get some elixirs on it. They're called elixirs, the brand. Okay. Lasts 10 times longer.
Are you calling?
I buy a lot, so
Well, I don't know. I have said it time and time again.
Are you gonna call? Are you gonna call Erica?
Yes.
they'll actually last until if you call them right. Or something before then on any other brand. Get pretty good at it, which I like. Because I can actually hear it. Right. Could be your tuning knobs too. Oh, I have to. No, your tuning knobs could be backing off a little bit. Crank them down a little bit.
Well, Erica's back from New York.
She's driving in. I was surprised.
Hello.
Erica?
Yes.
Okay, we're all set.
All right, 6 o'clock, we will call this regular meeting of the Town of Parker Common Council to order. Please silence your electronics, and we'll have a roll call of council.
Mayor Hartless,
Here.
Vice Mayor Lucas,
Here.
Councilmember Shantz.
Here.
Councilmember Daniels,
Present.
Councilmember De Leon, absent. Councilmember Waddell,
Here.
Councilmember Hooper.
Present.
All right, we have any call to the public requests?
No, sir.
No, okay, we'll move on to Chamber Director Report. Melissa Newton.
Wait, invocation?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Pastor Louis. No disrespect, my man.
He came here to just watch us.
And the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Father, we thank you for allowing us to gather here tonight. We pray that in this season of your son's birth and entry into the world, that you will help us work together to do all we can to bring peace and prosperity to this community, this town, and this region. So we just ask you to bless those that are here tonight with wisdom and insight. In Jesus' name, amen.
Well, I just skipped everything. Actually, Melissa, you are not up right first. That'll be Steve, with the ball field feasibility study.
Am I putting stuff up?
You were ambitious.
This is the feasibility. You were just going to give a brief overview?
Yes. So we had our first kickoff meeting on the city park feasibility with the Park and Recreation Committee. It basically, they presented kind of the process in which it's going to take place and the items that they're kind of in the program as far as timeline is concerned. We talked about amenities and if the committee had any additional amenities that the architects weren't already made aware of when they provided the proposal. So prior to, obviously in this current budget, when I reached out to the architectural firm, I gave them a list of the scope of work. And so there are a few items that were discussed at the meeting for the feasibility team to include in their scope of work. But it was, I felt, a good start, and they reached out back to me the following day with a list of questions for me to answer in regards to the start of their work. They did reach out to get the current survey results. We do have a Park and Recreation Committee survey that's out, and it's been out for, since the beginning of October, with 350 people who have taken it to date. So that was helpful information for them. They're gonna not necessarily use all the information that's in that survey, but they just wanted to see what came of the survey so far. But the timeline that they're anticipating having this feasibility completed will be by the end of March. So early April, it should be ready to go. And there's going to be a couple of meetings in which they'll have renderings or an actual concept, and then we'll put in front of certainly the committee. Be obviously with the council liaison that's at the committee. So information, feedback at that time will be helpful for them to continue and move forward. But I think everyone's excited to get this finally kicked off and see what they can make of that leased park.
Do we have any like cost estimate?
So that'll be included. So when it comes to the end of what they're doing, they're going to provide an estimated cost.
Okay. Do we have any idea, like ballpark, or we have no idea?
I think in looking at how just the ball field portion alone is going to be probably in the $2 million, $3 million range just to do the ball fields, I'm thinking. The rest of the park, depending on what amenities, probably less than $1 million. If it just depends on how much is added. Obviously, there's a lot of the entire park needs to be redeveloped, so you're adding some features that we don't necessarily have right now, like an actual football field / soccer field that can be used. So things like that. So there are some big amenity costs with regards to that, but the ball field and obviously the skate park, those are your two big cost factors. But yes, part of their final submission to us on the actual feasibility will be an estimated cost.
Thank you.
And just based off of current inflation, that's why I'm using that number. It's just, for instance, getting the new turf at Aaron Hill Field, that's $720,000 just for turf.
It hurts.
So that's, and it hasn't been really decided as far as if we're gonna go with turf grass or artificial turf for this project. I think we probably should lean towards a mix of both. That way we can still conserve water, and at the same time have a surface that's just regular grass for everyone to play on.
Okay, everybody's good?
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Before I call on Melissa, I did want to introduce Janiyah Stringham, our new HR director. I don't know if everybody was wondering who's this new person in the room. That's who she is. So. All right, Melissa.
I will always step aside for the prayer to be done by a professional, so. Good evening. So I figured you were calling me up first because last week I tried to call in, and right when you guys called me is when I lost service. So I figured you were getting me in first to get it done. But last Tuesday's meeting, so 2 weeks ago, we were driving to Yuma because the very next morning was the Welcome Back Winter Visitor Bash in Yuma. We gave out slightly less, like 20 less than 1,000 passports, which have all of our events. We had flyers for the upcoming races, and we gave out probably just as many tire gauges that say the Town of Parker on there too. So it was very well attended. Lots of people do come this way from Yuma for our races, for the Courtside Tent Show, off-road, stuff like that. So it was just great to reconnect with them. I think it's a great expo. So that's where I was, and that's where we were driving, so I do apologize for that. And then other than that, I was just gonna say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you guys. We're pretty much starting off and looking forward to 2024 with a great partnership with you guys, and I appreciate all that you've ever done for the chamber, so thank you.
Thank you. All right. Our first item is a consent agenda, but we want to pull the first item A off. So we need to talk about some stuff, yeah? Is that Steve?
Yes.
Were you?
So yes, the Parks and Rec Committee is putting on the 2024 Color Run, and in order to do that, we need to have a plan as far as a route is concerned or a course, and then come up with a plan as far as traffic kind of notification, not necessarily closure. So I put together an initial kind of route map here, and actually this is the second revision. Chief didn't like the first, and it's just the size of and scope of the course here is a challenge for us. We don't have enough traffic control devices to close down this entire course, so that's not necessarily an option. So we will move forward with actually having them walk or run on the sidewalk only. This was actually supposed to be like this last year, but from what I understand, people kind of went in and out of the street and the sidewalk in last year's event. But at the course, we'll certainly have these cones along the course to identify that, and on either side of the intersection, a cone and then a panel in the middle of the lanes that splits the lanes that basically says caution, watch for runners when crossing the intersection. So that'll all be set up prior to the event. And the plan is to actually get the committee to understand that we have to have everybody on the sidewalk for this. And we are reaching out also to Ms. Christina to see if we need to go through with a waiver for folks participating in this event. From what I understand, last year there were a couple of instances where vehicles and participants interacted or came close to each other. So I think that's something that we should pursue as well.
Trustee?
Was last year's event this long?
Yes.
That seems a little long. I'm just thinking like the demographic that would look at that and go, yeah, nope. That's probably the majority, you know?
So my issue with this was if we have this on the street, it's just not feasible for us to do a hard closure. If we are gonna have runners on the street, I would really recommend a hard closure because of the liability. Again, keep them on the sidewalk, that's fine. Do the soft closures, we just don't have the manpower to close down. What is there, how many intersections?
23
20 intersections plus the streets. You look at the the parade route for the high school, we don't even do a hard closure for that except for agency, but we have escorts for that. It's just, I didn't want to put the town in liability of we're allowing people to run on the street with soft closures only, cones and pylons, and it's not gonna, I don't think it's gonna work too well
Waiver
for
is
us.
kind of a no-brainer. Most of them probably have a waiver. Somebody steps off a curb and sprains their ankle or something.
But even with the waiver and we don't do a hard closure, we do a soft closure, I don't see how that would be absolve us of liability from that if we didn't do everything we can to protect people participating in this event.
Which end of it is the start?
Down there on 18th Street is the start.
Okay. You're right in front of the football field gate, it looks like.
Yes.
What was attendance like on this last year?
The attendance was really low actually last year, but that's because we also charged $45 for community members to participate last year. So the Parks and Rec Committee is hoping that we'll get a lot more participation this year with the registration only being $15. I don't see them having any problem with it being on the sidewalks. I know there's other walks in town and they only are on the sidewalk. So I don't see Parks and Rec having any concern with that. And I think that the waiver is a smart thing, especially if we can have them just sign the waiver when they purchase tickets. I'm sure that if we've looked at other towns, they have a waiver too that we could kind of look at just for our own reference.
And then, like, typically, because I put on a lot and coordinated a lot of walks and runs at SDP for probably over a decade, and those are probably the most well-attended runs out here. But the reason being because they're free and they give things away, and there's food, and that is the real draw. Any event where we didn't do that type of thing, we were lucky if we got 20 people. That would have been like a success. So, I think it would definitely help if there was some way. I understand that there's some money or something in a Parks and Recs budget, but if there was some way that we could eliminate that $45 fee or put up for that, what does the $45 fee pay for?
No, that was last year. It's
Now it's
yeah,
15.
15.
Oh.
15.
Well, what does that end up paying
This-
for ultimately?
they get a starting pack for the race, so they'll get a shirt that helps with like showing the colors. I believe it's sunglasses. There's a bracelet that comes with that.
So
there's
potentially
some-
like
it's a
20
whole of,
shirts and 20 bracelets.
No, actually, it's how many people sign up is how many that we order, and we do have a few left over from last year, so we're going to use those again as well. So it's pretty much the $15 is just for the pack that you get.
The kit, yeah.
Yeah.
Kaylee Page, you want to come up to the mic and speak on this? Say your name, please.
Kaylee Page.
Kaylee Page.
I'm on the Parks and Rec Committee. The kit, the $15 is the kit that we order from wholesalecolorsupply.com or something like that, and that's the price.
What is it? How many did you get last year? Same type of thing?
I don't know how many we ordered last year. We really it was our first
Sat on a
year.
bunch
So
of
we
them.
already have some already, but depending on the size of shirts that people are gonna be signing up for, we might not have those ones in stock right now.
My point is that you would get better attendance if the shirts and stuff were free and you ordered a minimum amount of them. That way you weren't sitting on them, because it's better to run out of something than it is to have something with a date or that's date specific sitting around next year. You know what I mean?
And the shirts that we have in stock don't have a date, so whatever we have right now will also be used for this year. I agree on events being free.
I would suggest like putting together the cost of maybe like 25 kits or 50 kits, and then, or do you have that already?
We have,
That's one of the agenda items
yeah.
tonight to purchase.
yeah, we have
Item 3.
a whole,
But that is.
I'm just trying to understand what the tension is all about.
Kylene Baldenegro. We did do that, but we still were taking into consideration the $15. So the budget that I put together and the request that I put together is going to include the money to pay back, I guess, part of that. So there's
You could
two.
almost just sell the shirts then if they're just paying for the shirts. I mean, it's the same thing. What if I want to do the run, but I don't care about the shirt? I still got to
What
pay
if-
15.
You know what, Dusty? We didn't think about that as Parks and Rec, and that
Yeah.
might be
Just sell some
even a
shirts.
good idea. Like
Just
if they
sell the
want to
shirts.
buy the starter pack, they can pay the $15 for the package, or just to run in their own white shirt, we could do free.
Because we were
Maybe we
trying
could
to work
discuss
it out
that.
to where
Oh, that
it didn't cost any money for them to participate,
Right.
but
That might be a good idea.
Yeah, and I've actually participated in huge color runs, and it's about $40, but that also comes with like as much beer as you can drink pass to a beer garden, and so it's a lot more than a T-shirt. You know what I mean? And people aren't signing up for them for the T-shirt necessarily. And if they were selling them in a booth somewhere and they really wanted a T-shirt, they'd go buy a T-shirt.
yeah.
Just my thought. It could be free, and then hopefully compensate the cost of your T-shirts by selling them on the side.
You know, the
Yeah,
problem with
yeah.
free is, like, you're gonna try to have people sign up online. You're gonna get 1,000 people, maybe 100 of them will show up. Having a cost associated with something gives it value. And I think 15 is pretty reasonable. We did it last year, it was $45. We had fun, it was great. So I mean, it's your guys' event, honestly. These suggestions are suggestions. It's your guys' event, it's how I feel.
The only concern I have is crossing 16th in Arizona,
Oh, yeah.
because those are two busy streets. Are we gonna have officers on those?
So would those, both those streets have four-way stops? So they just
So they're
use
doing it on the
crosswalk.
four-way stops, is what we're
Yeah, they would just
okay.
use the crosswalks.
Okay, then I don't have a concern.
I think, oh, go ahead.
Is this the same route as last year?
I believe so, yes.
I'm kind of with Dusty. This just looks.
It looks
so-
massive on the map. When I saw it, I was like,
It does. I'm kind
this
of
is way
like.
bigger than
Like
last year, but.
2.5 miles, like
yeah,
5K or,
It's not even a 5K.
No, it's like a mile.
really?
Wow.
No, it can't be a mile.
That's gotta be more than
I was
that.
thinking 3.5, but a block is, 10 blocks is a mile
12,
normally.
isn't it?
Is it 12?
We have 400-foot blocks.
I think
about
it is more than a
12.
mile. I want to say it's like a mile and a half.
Yeah, it's just over a mile if it is a mile, but,
I'm almost positive when I drove it last year to like make sure I knew like exactly,
Yeah.
I was watching my odometer and it was 1.1 miles,
It,
almost
it
positive.
just looks so big. I'm afraid if people see this, they're gonna be like, ooh, I can't do this.
No,
I haven't
and
been
we
walking.
We don't really
to get-
show, like, the map, we just tell
Okay.
a mile, you know, it's a mile, and it's a fun run or walk, like, it's not,
Okay,
Timed or anything.
it just looks so big.
I think it's at their own pace, and then even if they decided that they were done, it's not like they're running and it's a marathon, to my knowledge, right, Kaylee and Kylene?
correct.
It'd probably be good to have some kind of like runner that in the event that somebody cramps up, has an injury, can't make it, they're not stuck, you know, somewhere in town, unable to get back or something. I mean,
Maybe we
most of-
can get Bailey to use his new little machine.
Yeah, the razor.
The machine
Yeah,
is
the razor.
actually in the shop getting decked out. Oh, it'll be here
Oh,
tomorrow.
it won't be,
Oh.
oh, well, it'll be here by January then.
No, I guess my main thing is I think it should be free. I think that charging $15, even though it's a minimal amount, is going to cut off
And honestly-
a good demographic of the people that are out here. Because $15 is still $15. I mean,
And honestly, our agenda item is for the street closure, right? That's, I mean, Park and Recs, it's their event. I would prefer to, suggestions are fine, it's your event. I don't want to step on you guys. We're here to talk about street closure for the event, right?
right.
That's why
so
we
that-
pulled it,
So
so we could
basically,
get-
yeah, in lieu of the street closure, this was the plan, this was the option, because we don't have enough traffic control devices to close down this route.
So that would be this plan. Okay. And that's what is on for approval.
Yes.
Approve item A. So.
So moved and seconded. Anything else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
I
I'm assuming Erica was
I was aye.
aye
Okay.
for 4,
Wait, what?
and you're no.
Okay. The item that is still on the consent agenda is item B. We just leave it on consent agenda, or do you want to pull that and talk about it? It's routine updates, okay. So I would ask for a motion on the remaining item on the consent agenda.
So moved?
second.
So moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, item 1, discussion and possible action to approve, deny program services agreement with La Paz Economic Development Corporation for $12,000 for fiscal year 23-24. Amy?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I am here tonight seeking approval for the annual services agreement between the town and the La Paz Economic Development Corporation. Town staff and La Paz EDC representatives have gotten together and discussed the attached agreement and wish to move forward with reestablishing our partnership. The La Paz EDC has agreed to the terms and conditions of the agreement. We discussed several things extensively, and we feel the agreement will serve the town favorably and focus on development that will attract new businesses and developers to our area. This was a budgeted item for $12,000, and following approval, we will execute the agreement.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed in the actual amount, but that's what was budgeted,
Correct.
even though we spoke about it, like double that amount, I think, at one point for the budget, but it is what it is. So,
And that's something that we can revisit next year.
Sure.
I did speak to Casey, and we had originally talked about a 3-year initial term, but there was a little language in there that just wasn't clear for everybody on the renewal and the estimated what we would put in for next year. So we just went with this year's agreement, which will end on the 30th of June. And we will budget and discuss with Casey and the corporation what, what their needs are for next year and bring that to you
and
guys.
it's
during
safe to
budget.
say this is coming out of the bed tax fund? Is that a thing or no?
Yes.
It is, okay, good. I mean, that's what it should be used for, right? Okay.
Move to approve?
Second?
Moved and seconded. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I
Opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries. Item 2, discussion and possible action to approve, deny Resolution 18, 2023, Rural Arizona Group Health Trust relating to the appointment of a new trustee. Amy.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I promise, this will be the last time we see this resolution this year. It's just removing me from the trustee position on the Rural Arizona Group Health Trust, and replacing with Janaea. There's no reason for me to be part of this anymore when we have Janaea on staff now, so. No. Yeah.
Motion to approve?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any other discussion, questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I
Motion carried. Congratulations, I think, maybe? Yeah. All right, item 3, discussion possible action to approve, deny Parks and Recreation Advisory Board request for supplies purchased for the second annual color run not to exceed $3,000. Now we can talk about it.
Sorry, I'm antsy. I hear a lot about this stuff, so.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Public Works Department respectfully requests Mayor and Council to authorize staff to purchase items for the Parks and Recreation Committee Color Run event for an amount not to exceed $3,000. On December 12th, 2023, the Park and Recreation Committee held their monthly meeting. They're planning the Color Run event, which is a new event, and they started in 2022. The committee is requesting the town to pay for the fees associated with the Eventbrite website where participants sign up for the event. The Color Run kits, which include a t-shirt, color packet, sunglasses, 2 temporary tattoos, a bracelet, and a sticker. The color powder blasters, which are used to blast the color on the participants as they run. The funds will come from the Special Recreational Activities Department budget, where staff budgeted $12,760, with a current unexpended amount remaining of $11,860 for fiscal year 23-24.
All right. Okay, second. Now, any discussion?
Is that enough for everything? Just a question about the shirts, though, because I was just thinking about it. Typically, when
Thank
you
you,
go to those
Dusty. I
things,
love your question.
people show up in a white shirt, right? And then that's their shirt. They leave with their shirt that's all, and that's the shirt. Is you offering like a white shirt for the design, or?
It has like a logo on it. It's got like a
Like a motivational.
motivational
quote.
thing so that you, yeah,
Run
it's
or
not
die?
just a plain white shirt.
Erica, was there anything that you were wanting to add?
No, just thank you guys very much for being so supportive of Parks and Rec. They've been doing an amazing job, and I'm really excited to see this event this year, especially with the decrease in the cost.
I'm just curious about the reason it has to come before us. Is that any expenditure, or is it because it's 3,000, or is there, if they said we want $100 to do the Eventbrite site, we would have to approve that? I don't recall approving all these little things.
Because it's not under a department head, correct?
Correct.
I
So
think
there,
there's a lot. Oh, go ahead.
go ahead.
I think there's a lot, and recently Parks and Rec has had a few different questions regarding the budget. Nora has been there and helped us through a lot. At least the last 2 meetings, she's kind of guided us. Me just being the liaison in the Parks and Rec committee, having different questions about it. I do believe that a meeting with Parks and Rec department and Christina is in the works so that we can better understand the line items and exactly what our budget can be used for.
Okay, that's good.
Yes.
I was just curious. All right, anything else? Been moved and seconded to approve the expenditure for the second annual color run not to exceed $3,000. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. All right, item 4, discussion and possible action to approve deny agreement with the Water Infrastructure Finance Authority of Arizona, WIFA, to accept grant funds in the amount of $923,087.22 for the Aaron Hill Turf Water Meter Replacement and Library Xeriscape projects.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Public Works Department respectfully requests Mayor and Council to authorize staff to sign an agreement with the Water Infrastructure Finance Authority of Arizona, otherwise known as WIFA, Water Conservation Grant Fund, to receive grant funds in the amount of $923,087.72 for Aaron Hill Field artificial turf, water meter replacement, and Xeriscape projects. On July 18th, 2023, Council approved the application submission to WIFA, excuse me, for these 3 projects. On August 23rd, 2023, at the WIFA Water Conservation Grant Fund Committee meeting, town staff presented the project and the committee approved it. On September 2023, the WIFA Board of Directors officially approved the project and the award. The Aaron Hill Field artificial turf project will conserve on average 150,000 gallons a month for an annual average of 1.8 million gallons a year. The water meter replacement project will help reduce water loss, which on average is approximately 11 million gallons a year. There are 591 mechanical meters still left in our system to date, and that is a water loss source that we hope to shore up with the new meters. The library Xeriscape project will be removing existing turf, planting low water use trees and plants with drip irrigation, in addition to adding crushed granite and large boulders similar to Town Hall. The project will conserve on average 137,000 gallons a month and 1.6 million a year. Town has until June 30th, 2026 to expend the funds for this WIFA grant. The fiscal impact, the total project cost that was submitted in our application was $1,230,783.63, and town is required to match 25% of that amount, which amounts to $307,695.91. Staff budgeted $1,009,954 in FY 23-24 grant budget to cover the match amount. However, in August, staff submitted an application to the Bureau of Reclamation for a grant to pay for our grant match portion of the $307,000. It has not been awarded yet, and so we're essentially going to move forward with the project, and once we're notified, we'll go from there. But we have obviously budgeted funds for the grant match of $307,000.
Who did this grant?
John and myself.
John Luther? Yeah. All right. Yes, Jerry.
How many meters are we gonna replace with this, out of the 500 and some?
591.
Replace them all?
Well, so the 591 comes from the original amount that we had left in the system that were mechanical now. That doesn't take into consideration staff is replacing these meters on occasion, so that number is probably less than what was submitted for the actual
All the
application.
mechanical ones will be replaced then?
Yes, sir.
Great. And my second question is, you said something about maybe having some, like the infield, real grass and the rest turf.
Yes.
Is that gonna screw up the grant?
No, and actually, it was an option as a part of the proposal that I received from Elite Sports.
Okay.
So I think he gave both options. He said it doesn't really affect the cost that much at that point. So I think it's already, that 720 will cover that cost.
So what you're looking for is to have real grass on the infield and artificial
I don't,
on the out?
that decision has not been made yet.
So, I mean, if you do, that's the way you would go?
I don't know. I think I would lean towards, where's Kaylee? She left, towards Little League and see what what would they like to see. I think it helps. They are requesting to actually have the mound removed at Aaron Hill Field, which Cody Ayers with the Little League group actually emailed Arizona Diamondbacks Foundation, and they were okay with us removing the mound altogether, so they can bring in a portable mound and have it used as both, science softball type of field and baseball. So I think I would defer to them and see what they think would be best. From a maintenance standpoint, yeah, of course, the artificial turf would be, cost the town less in maintenance costs and labor to keep that upkeep on that.
Great, thank you.
So is there any stipulation for, like softball? Like they can't play, can play? Because right now, I guess they can't play there?
The MOU that we have with Arizona Diamondbacks Foundation specifically says youth baseball only. So
Is there a
this
date on
was
that?
this was the first step in seeing what they would allow by us emailing them and see what their response was, and that's a positive response. Yes, and his email was actually really helpful because it actually said, yeah, we want as many people to use the field as possible, as many different types of baseball or softball it can be used for. But in order for us to move forward, we have to tread lightly because I don't want to ruin that relationship with the foundation for future. I mean, they might be donating funds towards this other, renovation that we're going to be doing. So I think understanding where they sit and then come together, we might have to do maybe a new MOU and have it specifically stated for youth baseball and softball and whatever else that we as the town want to include in there.
That's outstanding. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Me too. Thank you.
All right. Entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
So moved and seconded to approve the agreement with the Water Infrastructure Finance Authority of Arizona as discussed. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Thank you, Steve. All right, item 5, discussion and possible action to approve, deny recruitment services for the town manager. Council may provide direction to staff on this item. So, almost feel like we're putting the cart before the horse here, because one decision will affect the other. So, do you want to open with something, or can I just say I want to table this item?
It's entirely up to you guys. I mean, we can kind of discuss the SGR.
We can't discuss that on number 6.
Correct.
Okay, then let's talk about it a little bit then.
SGR is who the Strategy Government Resources is who we went with to find our town manager, our last town manager, Ed. They had a service agreement with us. If within 18 months of his hire or her hire, whomever, was either released or resigned, we would be able to, they would do a reduced cost in going back out and hunting, searching for a new candidate for us. If you'll look, I gave each one of you a little packet, and on page 4 of that, there's kind of a graph in there. It's an orange. And that, this is what the expenses would be to go back out with them, which what they're actually asking for is for to republish the brochure, add some graphics, do that kind of thing is a certain amount. And then for each candidate that they bring to us, doing the online interview would be a certain amount, and just it kind of goes down the list. And if you add up all of their cost, it's about $8,000, $8,000 to $10,000 if you add in like 3 candidate, if they bring us 3 candidates, which is much less than what we paid them to begin with, because I have also included in that packet for the last 2, when they brought us Ed and Mary, and they went out for that such a long time, it was $26,000. So in retrospect, $10,000 is, you know, a lot smaller amount. We could go out and find another company to recruit with, if that's what you chose to do.
Can I make a motion
Sure.
to just approve the company to do their thing?
We need to go through item 6 first, really.
I would actually like to make a motion too. Can I make a motion to table this? Table,
You want to hear what the rest she has to say?
I'd like to table this and then come back and then revisit it. I mean, it's not up to me.
Well-
I don't know what I'm allowed to
Well,
do.
we have one motion on
Yeah,
the floor
Dusty made a
already.
motion.
Okay.
So the first motion is to approve this item, is what you're,
Right.
okay, do we have a second? Okay, hearing none, the motion dies. The next motion,
I would like to make a motion to table this item. Item number 5.
Second.
okay, it's been moved and seconded to table item 5.
To what point?
To revisit after
Item 6,
item 6.
just for clarification, you're good with that? Second?
Yes.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Did we lose Erica? You there, Erica?
It still says we're connected.
Okay. If you can hear me, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Aye.
okay. All right, so this item is tabled. We'll move to item 6, which is an executive session. Oh, I'm sorry. Discussion and possible action for the purpose of discussion or consideration of the employment, assignment, appointment, promotion, demotion, dismissal, salaries, discipline, or resignation of the interim town manager, community development director, Nora Yackley. The council may vote to discuss this matter in executive session pursuant to ARS 38-431.03A1 and 3.
Make a motion, we go into executive session and discuss item 6.
Second. So moved and seconded to go into executive session. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? All right, we are going to go into executive session then.
And I'm going to use the restroom.
I thought you were saying read that.
No.